If you are struggling to get results with your PPC, personal injury, Google Ads campaigns, probably want to look at your keyword approach and really dissect and see, are you even going after the right keywords and are you even matching to the right search terms? That's the number one key area that I would focus on first before touching on the settings and the landing page and all these other things that a lot of advertisers tend to look at beyond just the most basic fundamentals. And that's, within here, it's the keywords. And if you don't get this right, you're never going to be able to figure it out. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the perfect keywords for personal injury that I've personally seen have worked well. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I'm the founder of Level 28 Media, and I help personal injury attorneys generate leads through Google Ads. I also help with audits. So if you're looking for a second pair of eyes or for a done-for-you service, check out the link below, and I'd be happy to have a consultation with you. With that being said, I'd love to take you through my approach from spending thousands and thousands of dollars on how to identify the perfect types of keywords for personal injury. Now, I'm not even going to tell you how to identify. I'm just going to tell you actually what types of keywords have worked very well for me. And note that I've only really worked in big metropolitan, very, very, very competitive industries where cost per click's anywhere from $150 to $400 or $500. I've seen it on the super high end of $800, but that's a little scary. I tend to try to have more control over the budget there, but it's a very, very competitive market. But from what I've seen after spending thousands of dollars, is these are the types of keywords that tend to work best. And it's the practice areas and the injury types. So with practice areas, we're talking about motor vehicle accidents, including car accidents, truck accidents, motorcycle accidents, slip and falls, shootings, medical malpractice, dog bites, wrongful death. If there's any other practice area that you would want to get traffic from, definitely include that here on the list. But this is where I would start, the main practice areas that you want. And then after that, I would then focus on injury types. And the great thing about advertising on injury types is that these people are already saying what type of injury they have. So they already have some type of injury. With just practice area type of keywords, you don't know if there was any type of injury, and you also don't know if they were at fault or not. So that's another thing. Here, you also don't know if they were at fault or not, but at least they're stating that there's some type of injury and they're looking for some type of attorney. So whether it's whiplash injury attorney, spinal cord injury attorney, loss of limb attorney, brain injury attorney, death, wrongful death attorney, birth injury, these are keywords that I would highly prioritize along with practice areas, but not too general in like going after just personal injury lawyer. I've seen after running several campaigns that just general personal injury, PI, injury attorney, those specific keywords tend to attract a slew of different types of people calling. And it could be someone saying that they found a little peach pit inside of their fruit cup, and then they got some issue with their tooth, or their kid got slapped on the playground by another kid and they're looking to sue. These are not true personal injury cases that you would probably want. They're not really even personal injury cases in general, but these are not the types of phone calls you want to be fielding, especially if you are spending thousands and thousands of dollars. You don't want to be attracting that. So how do we get as focused as possible? Focus on the practice areas and focus on the injury types. And if you've got a more limited budget, just pick a few and go all in on that. Instead of trying to spread your budget very thin across all these different practice areas, just pick a few. Maybe you just want a bunch of car accident cases. Put all your money into car accidents and see what happens. That could be a good approach too. It just depends on what your budget is. The next thing that I want to talk about here are match types. Within Google, there's 3 types of match types. There's broad, phrase, and exact. If you're not familiar with the match types, I'll drop a link in the description below on my match types video so you can check it out. But just to jump to the chase here in terms of what I found that has worked really well for personal injury would be exact only, but I'm listing broad and phrase because if you're maxed out on exact, you might want to also explore phrase match. I put a big question mark on broad because I have never been able to figure that one out in terms of seeing how that generates any types of true results because it's a wild west. You could put your own brand name in there, go after your own brand terms, and then it's going to match it to every other competitor in your local area and more. So that's a pretty wild way to get matched to, and probably going to be spending an arm and a leg on those types of keywords anyway. So might as well spend an arm and a leg on keyword types that you can control, which is more exact. And if you want to really expand a little bit more outside of that, maybe phrase, but still need to have very tight control over that by using the a search terms report, which I will talk about when I touch on negative keywords. So my verdict on the match types would be heavy emphasis on exact match. You can open it up to some phrase match. Broad match is when it starts to get dangerous. That's why I put a question mark, because if you want to try to test that out, proceed with caution because you can bleed money very, very, very fast. Something that I didn't touch on actually when I was talking about the different types of keyword types or practice areas, injury types, I didn't touch on brand. I put a question mark here with brand. So I get a lot of questions from not even just attorneys that I work with, but just business owners in general that want to do PPC. Should I go after my own brand name? And there's no real cut and dry answer to this. If you have the budget, then you should. But it's also dependent on what type of results you're getting from it as well. Because I've seen some attorneys go after their own brand name. They don't really have a big brand name, so most of the people that are calling are their existing customers, which they don't want to pay for their existing clients to call them about a specific case to check on the status of this or that. But if you're a big brand, you're doing lots of billboards, TV, radio, and you've got other competitors bidding on your brand name, it is definitely worth spending money on, but it's just a matter of figuring out how much you want to be spending on. So if you got a really big brand, you probably could be spending a good chunk of your budget on brand, but it's also very important to be going after non-branded searches because these are people that have never heard of your brand before. So I would highly encourage you to test it out. There's no wrong or right answer to this. It's really just in terms of me sharing it here on the internet. But for you to really determine the answer for you is to do a test on this yourself and really determine, are you generating any type of quality coming from your brand name. And if you just want to go after brand just for your own protection because there's other competitors going after your brand name, then that's also a valid reason too as well. The next thing that I want to touch on here are negative keywords. If you are using broad and phrase match keywords, you need to keep up with your search terms report on a daily basis, especially if you are spending north of $1,000 a day. You've got to be, and $1,000 a day is definitely, competitive for, a big market. I've got clients spending 3 to 5 times that. So it can be the Wild West. So it's very, very, very important to have close tabs on your search terms report and make sure that you are not showing up for things that you do not want to be showing up for. And if you're not familiar with the search terms report, I will drop a link in the description below for you to go ahead and check out what the search terms report is, and you can do your own homework on that. The next thing for negative keywords is you can use the Google Keyword Planner to identify negative keywords. As you guys might know, if you've been running Google Ads for some time, Google's actually removed a lot of the search terms in the search terms report due to privacy reasons. So unfortunately, we're not able to see everything that we are buying or even appearing for. So the way that I like to go about being proactive about setting up negative keywords is looking at the keyword planner and seeing what types of keywords is Google identifying that are similar to the keywords that I'm currently going after. And if I'm seeing anything on that list that doesn't make sense, like bankruptcy is appearing, or real estate law, that's nothing to do with bankruptcy, I'm going to go ahead and add that as a negative keyword. Another awesome tip that I have to share is using ChatGPT to identify more negative keywords for you. So ChatGPT is definitely a great place to start if you're trying to build a negative keyword list and be proactive. Another thing that you can do if you're using broad or phrase match and you're seeing that you're matching to too many law firms in your area, but you're kind of playing a game of whack-a-mole, waiting every day to see who Google is going to want to match you up to in the search terms report, you can actually go to ChatGPT and type in top 100 law firm names, and it will give you Smith, Brook, Lee law firm, whatever. It'll give you like all the top last names. And with law firms, most of them are using someone's last name. So the leading attorney's last name. So having that in your negative keyword list is going to help to block out like the big names that could potentially show up for. Another thing too is blocking out specific geo areas. So let's say that you are in the state of Illinois, but you don't service anywhere else out. Block out every single other state. There's 49 other states for you to block out. You could even grab a list from ChatGPT of the top 100 largest metropolitan cities, remove your city if it's in there, and add the rest as negative keyword to make sure that you're not appearing if someone potentially is in your area, but they're searching for a personal injury attorney outside of your area. And then also block practice areas that you don't want to attract. So let's say you don't want workers' comp, you don't want bankruptcy, you don't want DUI, divorce attorneys. You got to make sure that you have those all blocked out as negative keywords. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I've got a lot more personal injury attorney content coming for you, and I will see you in the next video.